Live on a Tuesday edition of Cleveland Browns Daily. I am merely Bo, Gibbe to my left, and the proud Papa is here. You got the call to the bullpen. Thank God.
I did. I didn't. I thought you were. I thought you were on the turnpike, so I wanted to help out. Gibbe, nice pose right there. Love it. I'm watching you guys. It just popped up on Twitter, so I see you as I'm talking to you.
So, yeah. Well, I'll save my travails for a little later. How we doing? We know, but I mean, like, for the audience, here we are, week 2 with the young champion.
He's unbelievable. He really is unbelievable. Right now, Nana is feeding him behind me right now as Miss K is having a little lunch, and Boods is here, and we're all just having a great time. He's been, honest to goodness, like, the first night we were like, what have we done? And since then, he's had 5 nights in a row of perfect. He slept great. He went last night, I think he went 11 to 2:30 and then 2:30 to 6. Like, that's doable. We can live with that. So he's been great. He's eating a ton. He is no surprise. He's definitely a Zagura. He's eating a ton, but he's amazing. Like, honestly, everybody's biased for their own baby. He feels like the perfect baby. He's just so dang cute and good and happy and smiling, and it's awesome. It's been awesome.
Can he take down a whole chicken breast in 2 bites like his dad yet?
So on Saturday, in lieu of we weren't able to have like a big Father's Day because Kayla's dad was out of town and Jack K was leaving town, and so we on Saturday night I made the first prime rib of Luca's career.
Oh my gosh.
And I really was upset. I got a lot of pushback. I wanted to give him some like blended prime rib in au jus in a bottle, and people were totally against it. Like, they were like, you can't even have water. And I'm like, well, this isn't water. I said, so that doesn't seem like a problem. This is au jus. These are beef, beef juices. It's a jus. If he's drinking out of a bottle, what's the difference?
That's fun when you get to do that, though. Like, when he gets to that point, you remember those. Those are going to be good ones, buddy. For sure.
Oh, man, I'm all about it. Yeah, I was just watching some, I think it was like an Instagram reel or something, and I showed to Miss K of somebody said it was their 6-month-old birthday, and they made him like a giant ribeye, and he was just like gnawing on it. And I don't think he could eat it, but he was just kind of like, and I'm like, we got to do that.
You got to do
perfect.
that. Yeah.
For sure.
How did he enjoy the U.S. Open?
Had a great time with it. I got to tell you, he was kind of like, down the stretch, it was a bit underwhelming. Everybody was just kind of choking or really doing what he was doing, pooping in their pants. And that's what he does 8 times a day. But then when J.J. Spawn made that putt, the drive on 17 and then the putt, he was just like, that's just such a classy finish. And I agreed. That was a classy finish. We had a great weekend. So we watched the U.S. Open. We watched Hulk Hogan and The Rock from WrestleMania 18, which is an important way to start one's wrestling fandom. And then this morning I got up with him, and he was really alert. I got up to do the 6 a.m. feeding, and he was really alert and hanging out with me. And so we sat down, and I got him started on his new favorite TV series, which was one of my favorites as a young man, The Gummy Bears on Disney Plus, which was bouncing here and there and everywhere. High adventure that's beyond compare. So we were doing some of that sort of. It's really been awesome. Yeah,
that's really
great.
Cool.
And I was always a little nervous, and so far it's been, like I said, amazing and all of that. But like, it's so cool, and we've had Arden and Bryce here the whole time, and so they've gotten to really bond with him, and it's just been so special. And it's taken me kind of down like memory lane with what Arden and Bryce were like when they were babies. It's been really, really, really cool.
It's awesome. We're gonna let you get back to your family. And
all right.
and be with your family, and you got Nana there. You got
team
Boots
player
there.
still, Gibbe. You can't.
It's a big job.
Like, no shade at me for a week. Yeah, I was like
short notice.
I texted him. I was like, if Bo can't be there, I'll help you out on the first segment.
You did it. He volunteered.
Yeah,
I did. Yeah, he's not even acknowledging it. Look at him.
I said
he's
thank
looking around.
you.
Your mic on?
Unbelievable job.
I said thank you.
Unbelievable job.
I did.
I love you guys.
Go.
I miss you.
Go live.
I miss you too. We'll see you soon, buddy.
Okay. All right. See you guys.
Buddy.
That is fantastic.
Am I still here?
Yeah, you're still here. So we did. You still there?
I just want to say real fast.
Oh yeah.
The fact that we got diss tracks coming out is one of the highlights of the summer for me. I'm really enjoying. Enjoying where we're at as Cleveland Browns fans. We are ready for this season.
We're ready to go, baby. Yeah, diss tracks
ready
win.
To go.
Diss tracks win. An inability to zipper merge does not win. That doesn't win.
A big loss. Well, you know how I feel about that, so I'll let you air our grievances together.
All right, buddy. Be well.
All right, love you guys. See ya.
All right, there he goes. The great Z joining there on the hotline, the Twisted Tea Hard Iced Tea hotline. There you go. Get that in for the kids. So
how about that?
I see it pop up on the. I put the obviously I know the route, but the reason that I put the nav in is it's intuitive. So it'll say, go this way over this way.
Yeah.
Because there's something we see here that's a problem.
There is a backup of some kind.
Yeah. So like it's green lights. It's a green line everywhere when it's smooth sailing, and then if it's not, you'll get a yellow or you'll get a red. So just like the stop line. Makes a lot of sense. So I crossed 77 on 80, heading westbound and down, and it was all green. And then all of a sudden, there's there's like a rest area there, just past like in the North Royalton-ish area, and all of a sudden it popped red, and I went, oh man! So what was supposed to be getting here by 12:48 became 1:05, and I'm like, okay, so this is clear. This is when I texted you. Could be running a little bit late. So I'm thinking to myself, okay, accident. And then obviously I think, oh my God, I hope it's not bad. I hope no one's hurt. Like none of those type of things. So they are doing some construction in a part of the turnpike, and they go from 3 lanes to 2 to 1 over the course of what feels like about 3 miles. That's a long time to go. It's not their problem. They did a very good job giving you warning that in the next 2 miles, 2 lanes, you're going to go from 3 lanes to 1.
You're going to need to get over to the left.
Yes. Now, this would be my one piece of advice for whoever's running the turnpike. I think that there should be a giant billboard, like a billboard the size of Texas, on the side of the road that illustrates a zipper merge and how it is supposed to work, because we can't figure it out. So this happens a couple of times a year. Whenever there's construction, this happens. There are gatekeepers in the left lane that won't let the right lane people over. Then sometimes, and this happened today, there was a truck in the right lane who just stopped letting people go past him. So he had a log jam of cars behind that he was keeping at a lower speed, so that, I guess, trying to push people over to the left lane. It's anarchy. He's pushing it over to himself. Like, I guess what people must think is, in a situation where they say you have 2 miles to get over to the left, they want you, I'm guessing the majority of the people want people over to the left right away. Like, they want all 3 lanes going to the left all at once, which, by the way, doesn't work.
No, it creates a bigger backup.
It's an even bigger problem. And it is, in fact, proven, as we've discussed many times on this program, that a true zipper merge is the play.
Sure.
You go, I go, you go, I go, you go, I go, you go, I go, and everybody keeps moving, and we didn't have it. So I get all the way to the point, this long stretch of like bright red, like do not pass. We're backed up. You're going to be late.
Yeah.
There's not an accident. There's nothing. This is just an inability to merge. That's all it is. So then I found myself for a split second, it didn't last long, like, well, God, there should have been an accident. And then you go, well, God, you don't want accidents. I mean, nobody wants that. But at the same time, like, something to justify this. This is simply merging. That's all it is. And it set me back 15 minutes.
Just
merging.
Construction. Like, it's a construction zone.
It's a construction zone. And just show people a giant billboard. You go left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right. Go.
Can you create a construction sign that's basically like a zipper with cars?
Like, I don't know.
Because like they normally just have the merge.
Yeah, they do.
But they don't explain the merge.
They don't explain it. It's got to go. You go, I go. You go, I go.
Yeah. So does that have to happen? Because if you think that we're dumb as a society for this, you should drive in Rome or Florence.
Worse?
It's way worse. They make New York City look like driving in the middle of Wisconsin.
What do they struggle with? Or do they just know what they're doing and you didn't?
They're like, we're going.
Yeah.
Good luck fitting in. Get in or you're going to die. And then there's a million Vespas that you have to deal with that are
Oh.
like, I also own the road because I have a Vespa. So I can go wherever.
Those things are kind of borderline.
They go between the cars. They
Yeah.
they just pull up right as you're getting ready to go. They just zip right in front of you.
Yeah, it's lawless.
Yeah.
That part's tough. There almost should be like a Vespa in there. Well, they don't have enough room, but it should almost be like a bike lane, to
Yeah.
where that like it's its own separate thing.
One would think.
Yeah, I always get nervous around that. You don't see as much anymore. I don't feel like people ride motorcycles the way that they used to. It feels like when we were kids that they were much, much more popular. I don't know if that was all like off of Easy Rider and all of that stuff, but
Yeah,
I don't see as many.
I have a couple friends that got rid of motorcycles. They're like, because of the idiots on the road here that just do not care about a motorcycle.
Well,
They're
that is-
like, we've watched a lot of our friends get hit. Like, people just get mowed down, and they're like, I'm not doing this. It's not worth it.
That is absolutely true. That happens. I've also been, and I remember this vividly. This was just this spring when we were down in Stark County for lacrosse or basketball. I can't remember. And there was like 4 of them going about 160 miles an hour on 71 North, just weaving in and out of traffic. Like,
Yeah, that's
going
not ideal
twice the
either.
speed, and you just go like, I don't even know how you police this. Like, they actually drove past an Ohio Highway Patrol, drove past them going like 150. I mean, they were going twice as fast as the legal limit, and the police officer or the highway patrolman just sat. Because I'm sure they're just like, what good's it going to do? I can't catch them.
I'm not catching.
I'm not catching that. They're going to be in Akron by the time I get there.
You know, and it's one of those things where it's like, if anything impedes that motorcycle,
Oh.
that person's dead.
Cooked.
Yeah,
You're done, man.
yeah.
Yeah, you're done.
I don't. You know, you're not rooting for that.
No,
you
of
don't,
course not.
You don't want anything like that. But that's if you're doing that. If something happens, it's going to be over quick.
Yes, for sure.
Well, I'm glad you got here.
So we got here. Worked out okay.
You know, Brock was asking. He goes, "Does this happen a lot with Bo? You know, does this happen frequently?" I go, "Not frequently." And usually, he walks in right at like
Right on it.
12:58.
It's usually right on it. I usually give enough time for a 15-minute delay is usually what I try to make. I mean, I don't have any more time to give. Like, it is what it is.
Correct.
It's a finite amount of time to get over.
Well, and we
I
have
think
our
it's-
summer blitz going on today,
Well-
so I was a little like all of a sudden.
Tell you what.
I think J-Mac was like, "We should have told them about the parking situation," and I was
Well,
like, "My bad."
Here's what we did. So, young Brock, you may have to go down and talk to Mr. J downstairs. There's obviously no parking over there because we have a party of some sort
It's a
going.
summer blitz. It's our day of volunteering here at the facility.
Summer Blitz is going on across the street. So I didn't have time to like go find. So I just parked in one of the reserved ones that are here to the left. It seems like about where Z's parking spot is. It's in the vicinity. There's like 10 open.
Of course,
so I'm
he's
guessing.
weaseled his way into that.
It's been here a long time. So I don't think it's going to be a problem, but I think I'm in 215. So just so security, if they're listening, knows that I'm there. So if 215 person comes and they show up,
It's like
there's
halfway
8 more
down.
spots. It's like right there. It's about halfway. It's 215. My hunch is that I think it's either Z's spot or his is 216, but it's got to be right in there.
Okay.
Just so I don't, in case someone's outraged. I know it's not a Big L Luminaries because they're in a different spot, so I think we should be okay there.
Our boss is over there, but I don't think you're in his spot.
There's a bunch of empties.
There's a lot of people out this week.
Yeah.
The vacations have started.
Well, yeah. I mean, you
Because now
have
the
to.
football's gone. Like,
Yeah.
it's,
Yeah,
get
you
your
gotta
time
get that
in
done.
now.
Did you watch the NBA last night?
Not a whole lot of it. I fell asleep. I'm not gonna lie. I was running around doing some stuff, cleaning up still from Sunday's little Festivus, and doing some other things, trying to get some stuff done because I'm going out of town later this week. And I caught some of it. Like started the fourth quarter, unfortunately, and then I fell asleep.
Yeah, I had it kind of dual screen, so I was kind of keep paying attention to it, and a lot's been made of. The ratings for this. It's around a little less than 9 million is what it's averaging. And people say, "Oh, what's wrong with the NBA? What's this?" Look, they've been in this road before. 07 is the finals. You know very well. That was right around 9 million for Cavs Spurs.
That's right.
It was around 9 million.
Yep.
It was way down. There was one in 03, which was Spurs Nets. That was right around 9 million.
Remember that?
That was very low. It turns out my theory on this is that I think there's a bunch of factors lead to this. But number one, this isn't the one to point all the fingers at it. It's actually fine in comparison to everything else that's happened and the fact that, 17 years ago, 20 years ago, they were doing about the same. So really what it amounts to me is the NFL is the only sport maybe in the world where parity really works. It really works. It really doesn't matter if you're in Kansas City or Dallas or Cleveland or New York or Los Angeles or Green Bay. It doesn't matter. You play once a week. Every game's an event, no matter where your game is played. Because of fantasy football and gambling, everybody watches. It's a thing to do. It is. Every other instance of it, though, if you're going to use ratings as the driving factor, and ratings are what make these entities pay for the networks or pay for the leagues to show their games and so forth and so on, almost every other instance of parity, though, and the rest of sports have kind of tried to reverse engineer parity, it doesn't work. If you go look at NBA ratings over the last 30 years, you know what makes ratings pop? The Lakers, Michael Jordan, LeBron and Steph,
Larry
stars
Bird and the Celtics.
way back.
Yep.
Stars. It doesn't. LA seems to be the one that kind of doesn't matter, but they've always had stars, so it's hard to even judge them.
They're like the NBA's version of the Cowboys.
Yeah, well, they're even more than that. They're more like Real Madrid because they win too. So like they win and they're the most glamorous, and they've had all the stars. So that's kind of the one outlier, because even last year Celtics and Mavs wasn't some bonanza.
Sure.
And same, I think, is true of Major League Baseball. I think it's true of the NHL, which is really drifting. I mean, you're talking less than 3 million people are watching the Stanley Cup Finals, and they've been
you
great.
are missing out.
They've been great. They got
Huge game
game
tonight.
6 tonight. But, it just – football, the NFL is the only one. And what's really interesting about it is the second most popular sport in this country is college football, and college football is a complete – it has thrived on have and have not. It has been a handful of teams that have won over and over and over again, and there's a warm blanket of seeing Ohio State and Notre Dame and Texas and Alabama and LSU, these monster Michigan, these monster brands, Oregon, that are in the mix all the time. There's a familiarity that comes with it. And the NFL, I think, is about the only thing that is immune to it. And I think the NBA, they're going to be – you're staring down the barrel of like probably Oklahoma City for a decade in the mix. They better start setting the agenda of how good Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is to sell it to their audience and spend less time talking about all of this other nonsense. I mean, they're still talking about Durant and LeBron and all this stuff. They have got to prop up these young
Durant
stars.
wants another trade.
Yeah, but he's not. It's not him going anywhere is not changing anything.
No.
They need to do a better job of building up Anthony Edwards, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, these younger guys on a bigger stage, because otherwise they're gonna be in this spot, 8-9 million people. I don't really have a rooting interest. I don't really care who wins in it. I'm happy for our guy Jake, who's going to join us momentarily, but other than that, it's not resonating with me at all.
No. I mean, I've talked about it. These guys watch it, but I don't have an interest.
Yeah.
I just don't. And there's nothing else on except for the Stanley Cup Finals, so it's not like there's all these options.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, the Guardians are on the West Coast. I mean, that's a 10 p.m. I'm out.
Yeah, I'm not doing that. Yeah.
Nope. I'm good right now.
Yeah. Otani threw 100 miles an hour last night.
Yeah, he did. 21 months removed from elbow, arm, whatever.
He did a rehab assignment in the bigs.
Yeah.
While also hitting leadoff.
I got this.
I'm going to do
Okay.
Crazy. All right, we're going to be joined by our good buddy Jake Trotter. He was at the game last night in OKC, so we will talk about him. He actually he shared this with me, and I'll have him share it with all of you here coming up next, in terms of now that they're on the precipice of a championship, how this all came about and why it came about, how Oklahoma City landed the Seattle Sonics, and how all of these things happen. So we'll have a little bit of fun with that with Jake coming up next. You listen to Cleveland Browns Daily. It's presented by Bally Bet, official sports betting partner of your Cleveland Browns on 850 ESPN Cleveland. All right, welcome back in Cleveland Browns Daily. It's presented by Ballybet, official sports betting partner of your Cleveland Browns. I should have mentioned that previous segment was the Hot Topics of the Day, presented by University Hospitals, official healthcare partner of your Cleveland Browns. And now we head out on the Twisted Tea Hard Iced Tea Hotline, official sponsor of your Cleveland Browns. Keep it twisted, Cleveland. He was at Game 5 of the NBA Finals last night. He is a great friend of the program and a great friend indeed. ESPN's Jake Trotter, senior college football writer, formerly of the Browns Beat, joins on the Twisted Tea Hotline. Was this the first one of these you've seen? Because I know you were down there for the Women's College World Series, too.
Yeah, that was my first game of this finals. I'm actually back in Cleveland already, Bo. I left at my flight was at 5 a.m.
Nice.
Landed at 11. I think I got home, I don't think I went to bed until we may or may not have had a victory cigar back at the house. So I went to bed at like 1:45, 2, and I had to set my alarm for 3 to get to the airport. I think I slept 45 minutes last night, tops.
I'm just curious. Where does is that Chicago Connect, or what is that?
Dallas.
Oh,
DFW.
Dallas and then up. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, it depends on the airline. Like if you take Southwest, it's St. Louis. If you take, American, it's Dallas. I was on the American flight, but man, that was an early wake up call today. But it was worth it. Yeah, so I've been to 2 finals games in my life. I went to Game 1 in 2012 against the Miami Heat. LeBron James, Chris Bosh, Dwayne Wade. The Thunder won that game with Kevin Durant and company to go up 1-0 in the series, and they did not win another finals game that year. It got beat. Gentlemen sweep 4-1, and I was back in the arena last night. Thunder 2-0 lifetime in the finals when I'm in the house.
Well, then I guess if there is a Game 7, you'll be back. It feels like that's the way.
No,
it doesn't have to be.
I'm done.
What is the paint a little picture for us of, because this feels like a fait accompli at this point. I mean, Halliburton's hurt. Like they're the best team all year anyway. And then the other thing that's kind of crazy about this, Jake, is like the way they're built and with the picks. Now, I don't think anyone's going to go there in free agency. I know Paul George did, but I don't think that's going to happen much anymore. We dealt with that here in Cleveland. Like it's just probably not going to be a free agent destination, but they can circumvent that with all of those picks. So it does kind of, from my vantage point, feel like that they're going to win it, whether it's in Game 6 or 7. One of the way they're going to win it. There's no way Indiana's win 2 in a row. And then beyond that, this feels like the first of many. Like they're going to have at bats at this for like the next half decade. It looks like.
Well, listen. I am not writing off Indiana just yet. They have a voodoo about them where they're a zombie team. You think they're done. I mean, even last night, I was in the arena, so I wasn't as aware of what was going on with Halliburton. I knew he was hurt, but I didn't see on TV he's limping out of the locker room. It was clear that he wasn't the same, and yet it's a 2-point game because this guy named TJ McConnell. Mm-hmm. I was talking about the NBA 13 years ago. It was like a JJ Barea. I don't know if you remember him.
I do.
5'6" point guard from the Mavericks who absolutely killed the Thunder in the Western Conference Finals in 2011. Was a big part of their championship that year with the Dirk team. TJ McConnell comes in and can't miss, and all of a sudden it's a 2-point game, and I'm like, you could feel the angst rise up in the arena because Game 1 the Thunder had that locked up, and then Halliburton hits a 3 at the end, and somehow Indiana wins that game. And living in Cleveland, it's like a double whammy because I watched all those Cavs games where how in the world did India, that was a missed free throw. Was that Game 1 or Game 2 when Halliburton missed the free throw, catches it and dribbles out to the top of the key and sinks the 3 to win? I think that was Game 1, but I can't remember now. But listen, if Halliburton is not 100%, then it's going to be very difficult for Indiana to win. I agree, especially 2 games. But if you're the Pacers, you just got to figure out a way to send it to Game 7. And I think that they are capable of doing that. This has been a pretty even series until last night throughout. But to your bigger question, let's assume they do win. They're going to have Shea on the Supermax. They're going to have Chet and Jalen Williams on the Maxes. Like, that is the core of the team. And I think, the way Jalen Williams has played this series, it is pretty scary, I think, for the rest of the league, because he has really emerged into like a legit number 2, probably a number 1 on a lot of teams in the NBA. Perfect sidekick to Shea. And, Chet, even though I think he struggled offensively, is still just an absolute menace, blocking shots, protecting the rim. And they have, a bunch of guys under contract. I think this will pretty much be the same team next year, with the exception of the lottery pick they had last year, basically redshirted Nikola Topic, who was going to be a top 5 pick last summer, tore his knee up and was there at 12 for the Thunder to get. So he redshirted, is maybe the top guard out of Europe since Luka. I'm not saying he's Luka, but he was a pretty prolific European point guard. So we'll see if he gets in the rotation. And yeah, they just have picks upon picks to replenish the roster if guys get too expensive, or to adjust if they feel like they need to. So it's crazy that not only do they have this team, one of the youngest to ever win potentially an NBA title, but they have more assets than anybody in the NBA, or at least as many as anyone in the NBA going forward. I don't know that we've ever seen a situation like this, and maybe all of professional sports. So it's an exciting time to be a fan of the team, and they have a chance to really do something pretty special in the coming years, not just this season but beyond.
Trotter, it's Gibbs. Welcome back.
Yo. Thank you.
Question for you: How is that city when it comes to being a basketball town? Like, is it win lose no matter what, supporting, or is it a fair weather town, or how does that city embrace that team that obviously used to be the Seattle Sonics way back when?
Yeah. I mean, Thunder have lived a charmed life in their brief existence.
A little bit.
I mean, they moved in 2008. They were in the finals 4 years later. They have basically been competitive, like playoff competitive, pretty much like 80% of the time. You see some NBA teams, they haven't made the playoffs, and Sacramento makes it 1 year, and then now they're in disarray again. Charlotte, they can't do anything, no matter what they do. So they've it's been a charmed existence. They've had 4 MVPs play there. They've had players like Chris Paul, come through there. And, after the Paul George Russ run ran its course, they were basically, they had the 1 year with Chris Paul where they made the playoffs, Shea's first season with the Thunder after the Paul George trade. They were bad for 2 years, and then they were back in the play-in game. So it's been pretty incredible that they have, been as consistently good as they have been, basically, since they moved there 17 years ago. And, you combine that with, the success that the college programs, particularly OU football, have had. I mean, I'll just say it's not a jaded fan base. They have not had to deal with the adversity that, Browns fans have had to deal with, put it that way. It's kind of the inverse of, Browns leave, and then it's been really tough since. And, with the Thunder, they get this team, and they've just been pretty much awesome most years with a bunch of absolute superstar players coming through. So yeah, I mean, like you walk through town, it's you can imagine kind of what it's like, when the Browns were in the playoffs. It was kind of weird when they were in it during the COVID year, but the Flacco fever season. I mean, it's Thunder flags everywhere. Like all the buildings, are lit up with Thunder logos. I mean, everybody's wearing Thunder stuff around town. Everybody's all in, and it's a lot of fun to be in Oklahoma City right now.
Yeah, they're the Ravens. The Thunder are the Ravens.
It's not
that's
unfair.
what it is. Yeah.
It's not an unfair comp. And we have Lamar right now.
Right. Yeah. And before that, you had Ray Lewis. I mean, that's really what that is. I mean, that's from a move standpoint, it's about as painful as it gets from the other side of it. Much like it was for us here, from the Seattle side of it, it's that way. Just like it would be, I'm sure, Minnesota when they took the North Stars to Dallas and then they won the Cup, and it's like, wait, what? Like where this is supposed to happen? Not in Dallas. So I think that's the part that's. But look, that's of no fault of anybody down there, and they've been. What I'm curious about is like Sooner football. The Sooners win the national title, or Oklahoma City wins the national champ or the NBA title. Which one is more important?
I think the Thunder winning a NBA title would be more important because the Sooners have done it.
Yeah.
They have 7 national championships, and not everybody in Oklahoma is a Sooner fan.
Yeah.
Now, everybody in Oklahoma is a Thunder fan, basically. There's still 35% Oklahoma State fans. It's a little bit of a divide, bedlam divide there, but that, everybody's a Thunder fan. So, and the fact that it's never happened and it's professional sports, this would be, you could make the case this would be the biggest sports moment in the history of the state. I don't think that that's hyperbole.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, when you think of it from that it's a little bit like Columbus with the Blue Jackets, how, not everybody in Columbus loves the Buckeyes. There are people who move in from other places who don't, and this is something that is unequivocally theirs. You and I talked a couple of weeks ago about how this all came about, how the Thunder happened and Clay Bennett and all of that stuff, and what they were trying to do by building an arena before a team came. When you think about all of the years that have passed since all of this happened, and you think about the mission that was set out all those years ago after the tragic bombing, it's all work. They were right about all of it, weren't they?
One way that I notice it, I grew up in Oklahoma City, obviously, and I just remember this was before the bombing, just what a desolate wasteland downtown was. Mm-hmm. And like, if you wanted to go out and eat in Oklahoma City in the 80s, you were basically going to like Red Lobster, or like, there was like no restaurants at all. There was like a couple. If you went to downtown, there were basically 2 things to do. There was a haunted house that was in like an old warehouse in the Bricktown district. And then there was the spaghetti warehouse. That was it. Those were the only 2 things to do that I can remember.
Yeah.
And now, like, you go down, if you ask me, hey, I'm in Oklahoma City, where do I go? Like, I don't even know what to tell you because there are like 1,000 new restaurants I'd never heard of. The whole downtown area is there's the Scissortail Park next to the arena, which is incredible. There we went to a rooftop, bar before the game just across the street from the arena. That wasn't there when I lived there. I mean, there is just so much new in the city that, really is vibrant, and it all kind of goes back to getting the NBA team. Like, none of this, I think, is possible without the Thunder, drawing everybody downtown. I mean, downtown is like, it's hard for me to explain how different downtown is now than it was when I was growing up. I mean, it was, it was crazy. I mean, imagine the area around the lakefront, around the Brown Stadium, and then take away the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, the Science Center, and the actual stadium. That's kind of like what downtown was.
Yeah.
I wouldn't even know where to tell you to go. And now it's just it was incredible to be back down there. Last night, and it's hard to believe that they're on the verge of winning a championship, and now, like you said, like, they ain't going anywhere.
No.
And I think it's gonna be fascinating to see what happens in the NBA. Like, really curious to see what the Cavs do, because the Cavs were the other team right there with the Thunder that were just completely dominant during the regular season, and the Cavs ran into this Pacers team that was just red hot, and it has not been easy for Oklahoma City to deal with Indiana. Like, this has been a real series. And you go back to Game 4 when Friday night when it looked like Indiana was going to win to go up 3-1. And I think the difference between the two series is Shea was able to just take over the game late and will the Thunder to this incredible comeback, and no one on the Cavs was able to do that in any particular game, and they got blown out in that Game 4. Yeah. Remember that Game 4 where they had won in Indiana in Game 3, and it looked like, okay, they're about to reclaim the series, and they just no-showed. And the Thunder, they didn't no-show, but they were outplayed. They were kind of never in control, but they were able to hang around, and because they were able to hang around, they gave their superstar a chance to win the game. That's exactly what happened, and that's kind of the difference between the two series. And so if you're the Cavs, you got to figure out, okay, because the East is still wide open. Mm-hmm. That's why Orlando made the trade for Desmond Bane, but at least in the East, there is no Oklahoma City. But in the West, which, by the way, is loaded otherwise with guys like, Wembanyama and, Luka at the Lakers. I mean, there's Denver's not going anywhere. But, yeah, I mean, I think the standard is going to be the Thunder going forward because their big three are going to be there for a long time, and they're all young, and they're all getting better, and they have a tremendous bench and role players, and Lou Dort is just unreal, guarding the team's best, opposing team's best player. So the NBA is going to be really fun, I think, for Cleveland and certainly Oklahoma City in the coming future.
A lot has been made, and we were kind of talking about this, about ratings for all of this, and this doesn't affect the fans of Oklahoma City or Indianapolis or anything else, but they've been a little bit down, but they've been down before. They were down in 2007 when it was Cavs and Spurs. They were down in 2003 when it was Spurs and Nets too. And one thing that I'm thinking about listening to you talking as a native Oklahoma Citizen, you think about it from this perspective. If you're our age, if you're a man in your 40s or even your 30s, whatever, like you probably have some memories of the Sonics, and you probably remember thinking to yourself, how is Oklahoma City getting a team? Like, it's so crazy that a team would move from Seattle to Oklahoma City. But here's the thing. My kids, you know what they associate Oklahoma City with? Winning and basketball. Yeah. That's what they do. We have a Shai Gilgeous-Alexander jersey. My 13-year-old's got a Shai Gilgeous-Alexander jersey because he loves Kentucky and has it. Like, that's what the power of sport is, Jake. And we've seen this, boots on the ground in Indy with the Colts in that stadium, and in Columbus, you're down there. Like what that Blue Jackets, when you put stadiums, Crew Stadium, what that does, that's what sports do. That's what it does. It uplifts a whole city and changes the perspective of it for another generation.
I'm telling you, I traveled overseas, after 95, and you're in different places in the country. I went to school, to college in Virginia, and after 95, if you were from Oklahoma City, people found out. Like were you there for the bombing?
Yep.
Like internationally, when you thought of Oklahoma City, you thought of the bombing. That's like what the identity of the city was. Now it's the Thunder. And that's, like you said, when you were saying that about, your kids and Shea and Thunder, like that is what the city of Oklahoma City is identified as. And that's pretty cool that they were able, and we were able to, change the perception of, what it meant to be from Oklahoma City. And, the first thing you thought of, because, I was in Oklahoma City when the bombing happened. I wasn't that far from downtown. It was a crazy event to be in the middle of, especially as a kid. Mm-hmm. And I think a lot of where Oklahoma City is now is tied to that and how the city responded to it. But, it is also cool to, like, I was wearing my Thunder shirt in the airport in Cleveland, and I had like multiple people say something to me about the game.
Yeah. Yeah, man, it's great having you on to reflect on it and enjoy the ride. I have a feeling it's just beginning for your boys.
Get some sleep, Trotter. Yeah. Get some sleep. Those three kids, I know. They're not going to wait for you.
They're not letting me sleep, but hopefully Browns fans will get to a point where they can feel what I'm feeling now, because it's pretty cool.
It really is. Good talking to you, buddy. As always, I have a feeling we'll do it again tomorrow.
Yep. See you guys. All right, yep. I'll talk to you in Columbus. See you, buddy.
There he goes, Jake Trotter, joining us on the Twisted Tea Hotline. That is the thing. Sometimes it takes a generation for there to be a different perception of things. Like,
Sure.
As we get older, there's a history that we have with cities and franchises and all of that. And like my kids, that's all they watch, a lot of basketball, and that's how they view Oklahoma City. They must be a great basketball town. All they've done is win their whole life. That's all they know.
But you also, and we've had this conversation on the air, we've had the conversation off the air. From an NBA standpoint, I don't know if it's necessarily an NFL deal or not. Maybe we can debate that, but it's more about the name on the back than the name on the front that people are fans of, especially the younger youth.
That started with David Stern. So David Stern in the 80s pushed Magic and Bird. It helped that it was Lakers Celtics, but it was really Magic and Bird, and it kind of had all of it, right? You had kind of this blue collar. Bird they both came from blue collar backgrounds.
Sure.
But the racial part of it was certainly a part of those two cities. The Flash and all the stuff that came in Los Angeles, more of a blue collar attitude in Boston, even though it's it's probably the most educated city maybe in the world. It's certainly in America. And you had this thing that they pushed, this narrative, and then when those two were done and they saved the NBA, they saved it, and then Jordan came along. And then after that, there was who's got next. Well, it's Kobe and Shaq, and those guys came along. And then some kid from Akron came along. So they've always had the guy who's next ready to go, but they have pushed those stars, Steph coming along at the right time as a foil for LeBron after Kobe petered out. Like all of those things were happening. And I don't know what's next for that league because their best players are foreign players. And
sure.
They just are. And so Shai Gilgeous-Alexander won the MVP. He's from Canada. Like it's now he played at Kentucky. Like, I don't know what's the difference. Maybe I'll save that joke. But the point is that like they are in this spot of they've sold stars and star power for our whole life, and now what it looks like in terms of where it's heading, and like Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is a star, Donovan Mitchell is a star. Do they transcend? Probably not in the way that those other guys did. They
Correct.
do here because we're in town. But are
they a face of the league?
I don't know. I mean, I think it's probably Giannis, and it's probably still Steph and LeBron and those guys. The one way of always knowing is looking to see who they put on the Christmas Day games.
Sure,
that's the best way of knowing. That's who they think is the face of the league, or those games. So, but yeah, that's not OKC's fault. That's not Indy's fault. It's just a product of where that league is right now. And their television partners, their media partners, their social media partners, they really need to prop up. They need to talk about Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. They need to talk about Anthony Edwards. They need to talk about and build those guys up so that next year when you're in this thing, because it's going to be Oklahoma City again next year, barring injury, when they're there again, people are ready for them and they're familiar.
So I'm going to take in it's like the WWE.
Yeah.
When all the big names, when The Rock was done, and when Cena started to go make movies,
yeah,
and you're like, who's the face?
Who is it? Yeah.
Who's the face? Like there's a lot of good. Mm-hmm. There's even some great.
Yeah.
But is it the face?
Well, and is it interesting?
Yeah.
Is it interesting? Because right now, I don't know that Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is interesting. He's great. He just won the MVP. But I don't know if people outside of people who watch a lot of hoop have any idea who he is. That's the spot that they're in a little bit right now, at least here stateside.
My buddy, the commissioner, Christian Cooper Flag.
Yeah.
He's your next face.
Well,
that'd be nice.
He's got to be great.
He's got to be great.
He's got to be great. And he's 18.
He can't drink.
No, no, none of these guys. I mean, that's like the Williams guy for Oklahoma City. He played 3 years at Santa Clara. That's how hard this is to try to understand. He was the 12th pick in the draft. Like, you never know with these guys anymore.
Correct.
You don't know how they're going to grow or how they're going to develop. So, I think all those factors are there. But yeah, the beginning, very, very beginning for OKC. All right, our buddy Greg Newsome was on Good Morning Football. We'll have some of that for you coming up next. You'll listen to Cleveland Browns Daily. It's presented by Ballybet, official sports betting partner of Cleveland Browns on 850 ESPN Cleveland. Add more fun to your random with the Ballybet Sportsbook app. Download today. Get 50 back in bonus bets. You place that first wager of 10 or more. Ballybet, official sports betting partner of your Cleveland Browns. Our buddy Greg Newsome was on Good Morning Football this morning. A wide-ranging discussion. Let's have a listen.
All right, man. Again, we have to
Goes down.
QB situation. You guys have had cameras all over the place. You guys have about 17 QBs on the depth chart. We need to know from the defensive perspective. Give us an idea of how you have perceived all these guys to be different, right? You got Flacco, you got Pickett, you got Gabriel, you got Sanders. What have you seen from these guys from then the entire depth chart from the defensive side of the ball?
Yeah, like you said, I think they're all different. You got Flacco, who's a seasoned vet, still has an incredible arm, can make pretty much any throw. You got Kenny Pickett, who's a proven guy who's won games in this league, a guy who's not going to make too many mistakes. Then you got the two young bulls and Dylan Gabriel and Shador, which has been fun to watch them grow. And they all do something a little bit different. So it's been amazing just to watch. And we're super excited because I feel like with competition, you're going to bring the best out of everybody.
Greg, shout out one of them who's looked really good. Who have you liked? You're watching these guys who look sharp.
Yeah, I like. Obviously, I haven't went against Shador too much, but just watching the film and everything, he's been doing an amazing job. And then the reps, Dylan has been getting against us, and Joe and really everybody been doing a pretty good job. But I think everybody commands the offense in different ways, so it's been super fun to watch them all go.
Nice. Yeah, I bet it has. Shador, it's this thing where he might be the most famous fifth-round pick ever. And you as a corner, like his dad is Dion, and he's this cult of personality, and he's everywhere. What is he like just as a guy, as a teammate? What's it been like?
Yeah, no, he's been amazing. A sponge, I would say. It's just crazy that a guy this young with this much notoriety can just handle media and things like that. I think his dad has really taught him how, to be that guy in the spotlight. And understand that what comes with it. And I think he's been doing an incredible job of just learning and getting better each day.
Hey, also on the defensive side, right, you guys just signed Myles Garrett, of course, to a monster deal. Like, what type of teammate has he been in the locker room lately?
Yeah, he's a monster. He brings a lot of energy to this locker room, what people don't see behind the scenes, like just always playing with everybody. He's a guy easily reachable to everybody on the team, not just the defense. He's not just a guy that sits to himself. He's a guy that brings the energy, and he's a huge leader for us out there on the field.
All right, Jay, I have to ask you this question, man. The game of football, right, we visualize a lot, right? We kind of manifest us making plays, and now all of a sudden, your division rival goes out there and signs Aaron Rodgers, a.k.a. Aaron, a.k.a. John Wick. And have you visualized yourself picking off Aaron Rodgers? And if so, give us a rundown of how that kind of played out.
Yeah, definitely. It's the Steelers. That's our arch nemesis. So definitely see that happening, both in Cleveland and in Pittsburgh. So, it can happen in a multitude of ways. The tip pass by some of the great D linemen we got. Just a great play, against a guy like DK Metcalf and Freiermuth. So I think there's a lot of different ways, but I'm super excited because I think, this is the best division in football. So adding a guy like him is just going to make it even tougher.
Yeah, so I grew up in Cleveland, so I hated the Browns, right? And my favorite team was the Steelers, as crazy as that sounds. But so again, now you have Rodgers in the conference, have Burrow and Lamar, of course. So rank them from 3, 2, 1. Which one would you most want to get a pick off of? And any of these, like a ball that you would get signed, take home, or anything like that?
Yeah, for sure. Well, since I got Lamar.
You already got him. Okay, well.
We'll take him down a little bit.
Yeah.
But, I'm going to go Joe Burrow first just because we played in week 1. So, I'm trying to get off to a great start.
Yeah.
He's a guy that I love going against my entire career, and it's been super fun. And then, honestly, A-Rod's right there up there with him. That's a guy that's, arguably one of the top 5 greatest quarterbacks to ever lace him up. So that'll be super amazing, too.
Really good stuff with Greg Newsome from Good Morning Football this morning.
Loves going up against the best. Well, congratulations. You're going to go up against the best this year and in the quarterbacks in our division.
Yeah. That's an interesting one. If Rodgers plays at, let's say he plays how he played his last year in Green Bay. Where does this group, what was probably the best the quarterback position was ever represented in this division? Was it Moon, Kozar, Esiason? Was that like
but
Bubby
it was
Brister,
Bubby
Mark
Brister.
Malone, like that?
Bobby Brister was trash. It was great because I watched Wins.
Right. So then the way back would have been like Bradshaw, Sipe, and Kenny Anderson, and then who would have been in Houston at that time? Is that like when they're running through like Archie Manning and like kind of the end of that? Who's quarterbacking Houston like in the late 70s, early 80s? Yeah, and then in contemporary times there wouldn't be anything in contemporary times that would be better than what it is right now.
It is
Palmer, Roethlisberger. No. Oh, well, Palmer, Roethlisberger, Flacco. How much did that cross over? Not much, if in any.
No, but what about, I mean, when you had Baker, Burrow, Lamar, and Ben, I think, was still there.
End of Ben. Beginning of Baker, beginning of Joe, end of Ben.
Beginning of Lamar.
Middle, yeah, kind of early parts of Lamar. I think this might, yeah.
This year tops that.
You have two top 5 MVP candidates in Burrow and Lamar. Burrow probably wins the MVP last year. If they just win 2 more games, he probably wins it. So you have 2 legit MVP candidates. You have one of the most decorated individual players. Now, this is all needing him to come along is the thing. And then we just have uncertainty at our spot. It's probably Esiason, Kozar, Moon, and
Trash.
then the Mark Malone, Bubby Brister, Pittsburgh spot. That's probably the apex of it. But this is pretty close. The one you just mentioned is pretty close. I don't know how many seasons Palmer, Roethlisberger, Flacco, but then we were running a do guy out every year at that time, so we wouldn't have much to contribute there.
No.
It's pretty good, though.
Would you say Aaron Rodgers was one of the 15 best quarterbacks in the NFL a year ago? 29 TDs, 10 picks.
Yeah, 15 best?
Yeah.
He was top half of the league.
Okay.
Yeah, so I think if you're there, if he's top 12 of the league, then the other 2 are top 5.
Yeah.
So, and then whatever happens with our situation. So, it's an interesting one. It's very, very healthy, which isn't necessarily good news for us, although Greg will be chomping at the bit from it for sure. All right, we're going to rank some position rooms, have a little fun here in the second hour of the program. You listen to Cleveland Browns Daily, presented by Ballybet, official sports betting partner of Cleveland Browns on 850 ESPN Cleveland. Browns fans, single game tickets on sale now. Secure your seats today for the top matchups Huntington Bank Field during the 25 season. Don't wait. Head to browns.com/tickets now. All right, our task this segment, rank every position room on our roster 1 to 11 based on the one you have the most confidence in to the one with the most questions. So in this instance, 1 higher, least all the confidence in the world. We're good to go.
Correct.
Lowest would be 11.
A lot of questions.
Concern,
possibly.
Of questions. I have a tough I don't know what to do with.
We exclude one big position.
Yeah, I see quarterbacks are not on this list.
Not allowed. Because right now would that be number 11 on your list?
No, because I think it wouldn't be 11 on the list for me.
Really?
No.
Okay, where would you put it?
I would have it somewhere in the back half.
Okay.
But I mean, there's a million questions around it, but I also think it'll be just fine. Whatever happens at quarterback this year, it's going to be better than what we had last year. We took a step in the right direction in the room, and so I think no matter what, you're going to be better off at quarterback than you were a year ago. So I whether it's Flacco or Pickett or one of the two young guys, I think the offensive system will be better suited for their skill set as well. So while I am curious and there are questions of who it's going to be, whoever it is and whatever the plan is, I think it'll be better than the situation we're in last year.
All right.
So I would not have it 11. The one that I have a tough time with here is specialist. I don't really know what to do with that. Bjorquez is great. Hopkins obviously was really, really good year one, a little bit down last year. I don't really know what we're doing at punt return, kick return. I know the names that are out there, but in terms of what that looks like, I don't know. So that's kind of a Bjorquez, Hopkins. How do I feel? And I have great confidence in both of those guys. So that's kind of a tricky one to rate. Basically, with special teams, you just don't want to be noticed.
Exactly. I put them right in the middle.
That's kind of right in the middle.
Yeah, I put them right in the middle. The biggest question, I don't think, is the returners. I need to know that D-Hop's going to recover.
Yeah.
And I love him, and I want him to recover. I want him to be good. But, I got to know that I've got plenty of trust if when push comes to shove late in the fourth quarter. Everybody's coming in looking like a drowned rat.
Well,
Not
guess
great.
what? It's raining again, kids.
Yeah.
By the way, utter nonsense that it's gray all day today. I mean, just utter nonsense. It's June.
It's the middle of June.
Thunderstorm, fine, but then move on.
Yep. Exactly.
All right. You want to do most questions or least questions to start?
You
want to start from the 1 or do you start from 11?
I would start 1.
Okay. Well, this is to me. I think this room is as good as any in the league. I think it's been a big point of emphasis. There's been a great investment in it. To me, it's very clearly corner is number one strength on this football team.
Okay.
I think you got 3 dudes. I think beyond it, it's good. You got I think you have the best mirror corner in the league in Denzel. I think MJ bounces back big this year. I think Newsome's going to be great again. I think that's the strongest top to bottom unit on the roster.
We disagree.
Who do you have?
I have defensive end.
Okay.
I think that there's 7 or 8 guys in that defensive end room. Obviously, you've got a defensive player of the year in Miles. I think Isaiah McGuire, Alex Wright, Obo. You got Joe Tryon-Shayenko, who we went out and got. I'm missing a name.
Oh, you got most of them.
Did I get
Aquara,
everybody?
you got Aquara in there. I think you got them all. I have it too. I have defensive end number 2. The only reason I don't have it, the only reason I don't have it higher than corner is I think the corner room is more proven, whereas Miles is probably a better overall player than Denzel. I mean, he's a defensive player of the year. He's one of the 5 best players in the whole league. But Denzel's in the vicinity. But then the next 2 corners, MJ and Newsome, I've seen their high end a little more than I've seen the high end of the other DNs. But I have DN too. I have it number 2 on my list. Yeah, so we're pretty aligned there.
I don't have corner at number 2.
Shocking.
I have interior offensive line.
Okay, I have that 3.
Okay.
So
with the guards in the center.
The only thing here is just health. It's age and
Agreed.
health. It's age and health. But I think it's the strongest, for sure, the strongest unit on the offense. And I do think Zinter will bounce back after a little bit of a tough year. They loved Whippler before the injury, so the guys behind the guys are pretty good. That's the future planning. When healthy, Posick, Bitonio, Teller is the best interior group, but they're aging, and they've got to stay healthy. But, I have that 3 on
Gotcha.
this. So I'm with you on that.
At 3, I had corner. So we have the same
top
combinations. We're all thinking the same thing. Number 4, who do you have?
What were your questions with corner?
I need to know that the guys behind, Greg Newsome's in a contract year.
Yeah.
MJ's in
Cam
a contract
Mitchell,
year.
those guys, yeah.
Yeah, like we've taken a corner every year for the last couple of years in round, on day 3. I need to see what those guys can do.
I got you.
I want to see those guys take a step forward because we got 3 good corners, but all 3 of them have had injuries.
Yes.
I mean, Denzel gets hurt. Denzel's going to miss 4 to 5 weeks.
Yeah.
Potentially. Newsome's missed some significant time. MJ has missed some time, but he's also played through injuries. But when he's playing through injuries, sometimes it's pretty tough.
Yep.
So I need to know what that depth is because with a 17-game schedule, you need all the corners you can get.
Yes. I don't have a problem with that. All right, number 4. Number 4 for you.
Number 4, I had defensive tackle.
Okay.
Mason Graham, Malik Collins, Shelby Harris. I think Juwan Briggs showed some things. Mike Hall is still recovering. He wasn't out at minicamp last week, but I think he'll be back sooner rather than later. And I think for what you want to do in that room, let's see what Mason Graham brings to that table.
I have it number 4, the tight ends. Chief at the top of that, Fannin underneath. I think Fannon's going to be an absolute stud behind that. I do think they'd like to add maybe one more. I'm very curious, when we get into training camp, if they add another one, if there's something this summer. But I have tight end number 4. I think Chief and Fannin are pretty much lights out, and I think those guys will both have very, very big years. So you went D tackle.
I went D tackle.
I went D tackle at 5.
Okay.
So this is where I have D tackle. The only thing, it's just Mike Hall, put it all together, baby, because it's all there for you. And then we haven't seen Mason Graham at this level yet, and that's the only reason. Because otherwise, like the depth is good. Shelby, the Malik, it's a really good room. But we have not seen Mason Graham play NFL football yet, and I realize we haven't seen Fannin play NFL football yet. But I think Chief right now is more established than the veterans on the defensive tackle. So that's the reason I have tight ends ahead of that. But I did have D tackle 5. Who'd you have at 5?
At 5, I know we haven't seen them play in NFL games yet, but my confidence level could not be higher in the running back room.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think from that standpoint, Jerome Ford, you know what you get. Pierre Strong, that's another guy that you got to stay healthy. It starts there. But with Judkins and Sampson, I'm excited by it. I think that could be the focal point of your offense in 2025.
I think it will be, yeah. Needs to be.
Yeah.
If you're going to win, it needs to be. So you had those guys at 5?
Yes.
Okay. I have them at 6.
Okay.
So we view this pretty similarly. And again, it's just I'm like you. I'm Missouri. I'm the show me state. I just need to see the 2 backs go. They look great in rookie minicamp. They looked awesome in mandatory minicamp. But as Deuce Staley was quick to point out to them, we're not in pads. So we'll see who's a grown man by the time we get in pads. But those guys all look good. Sampson's a stud. Junkins is a stud. Let's not forget about Jerome Ford. Pierre Strong, when healthy, is very good. I like that room a lot. He's got to stay on the field. But he's the 4th guy here, which gives you an idea of the kind of the talent that's there. Who did you have at 6?
At 6, I had a linebacker actually.
Okay.
I like the linebacker room. I know there's no JOK, and that's a tremendous loss. I think Schlesinger can fill that void. I think Hicks is solid. Baker, I'm interested. Although Baker, I think, was with more of the 3s and 4s in mandatory minicamp. So I'm not sure what that reads to me. But Diabate and Reed are solid players. Devin Bush, we like Devin Bush. Like, there's a lot of depth there at linebacker. And I think to make the team, it's not necessarily your play at linebacker. It's going to be on special teams for that room.
Yeah, I have that. So you have them 6, I have them 7.
Okay.
So I have linebacker 7. So we see this kind of similarly as well. Probably our biggest discrepancy is wherever you land on tight end. That seems to be the biggest one because I think this linebacker room is really good too. I think they need Schlesinger in order for it to be this high on this roster. they need Schlesinger to be what he looks to be. He looks like a stud. His sideline to sideline stuff, his ability to turn and run and get deep in cover two. He's such a tremendous athlete. He's way bigger than you realize. He plays big. He's rangy. But they need him to be that because the loss of JOK is a massive loss. It's massive. So Schlesinger has to be great in year one for this room to be ranked this high, but my hunch is he will be.
So it's interesting because I saw him in the cafe today, and I'm like, God, he looks bigger.
He's
and
big.
Our strength and conditioning people have gotten their hands on him since the draft.
Yeah.
And, I mean, that was end of April, first week in May when they were here in the building. He's been here since. And he's already bulked up, and it's pretty impressive already.
Well, you have to remember, too, like all those guys shed weight so they can run fast, and now they're putting
because
it
they're
back
doing
on.
stuff that, you know,
And
we're
underwear
running.
Olympic stuff.
Yeah, exactly, that you're not going to do in the NFL.
No. Did we get your 7?
I had the specialist at 7.
You have specialist 7.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm like, Hopkins is the only question.
Yeah, that I have him 8. So, again, we're pretty similar. So, our biggest difference is definitely tight ends. I'm much higher on the tight end room than you are, which is crazy as a BG guy that you're doing BG crime.
I know.
You hate to see it.
I know.
Hate to see that out of you. I have specialist 8. I would like for us to be dangerous in the return game at some point. That would be nice. Maybe Carter could be kind of the key to that. Bjork is a stud, and Hopkins has been. It was a weird thing last year. I have faith he'll bounce back.
Yeah, I need him to. And last week there were just a couple moments again where I'm watching him kick, and I'm like, why is that going left? What? I don't like that.
Yeah.
Like, well, come on. Let's go. We got to get it together on that. I have the safeties at number 8.
Okay.
I know
You're way down on tight ends.
Yeah.
You're way down.
Hickman and Delpit, I know what I get. I think.
Do you think that? I think Hickman needs a year. I think he needs it. I mean, it's been good. It's an undrafted guy.
Yes.
But so he's played above that. But now to be like a dude
now
in the
there's
league,
expectations.
You got yeah.
Okay. I can make that argument. I love how they went out and got Casey and Jenkins.
Yes.
I think that puts some of my fears to rest a little bit.
Sure.
You know, Coach Bondo was in here a few weeks ago. Loves Chris Edmonds. Mm-hmm. Kind of excited that. Or Donovan McMillan, young guys. With this room, the first 2 got to stay healthy.
Yeah. Got to.
That's
Delpit
been a problem.
Delpit needs to be healthy and be what he's been when he's been healthy.
Yeah.
We're at 9. That was your 9 with safety?
No, 8 was safety.
8 was safety. So 9 for me is tackle is 9 for me. And it's got nothing to do with talent. It's just availability. You just have to be healthy. And so DeJuan has to stay healthy. Jack has to stay healthy. Behind them, it's new faces, too, which is, we've kind of had the similar backups for a while, but now it's Corny Lucas and Jackson Barton behind. But this really comes down to if DeJuan Jones and Jack Conklin can stay healthy, you can put it up there with any tackle group in the league. If they get nicked and both have been injury prone, then that's a problem. So that's the only hesitation because when healthy, it would be way higher.
So, at the tackle position, I'm surprised, and this is from our friends at Our Lads, because we don't have an official depth chart. No NFL team does. But Our Lads has kind of a makeshift one. I feel like Tevin Jenkins can play tackle, right?
Yeah.
I feel like he should be in the mix in that room.
Yeah,
but,
I'm sure he'll maybe be like the swing guy who bounces from tackle to guard. And
Fine.
Kind of the swing tackle stuff.
Yeah.
So, he could be in the mix, too.
I like the depth, but again, like you said, I need Conklin to stay healthy. I need DeJuan Jones to stay healthy.
Yeah.
And Big Thanos knows it.
He knows. Yeah, that's what he's here every day. I mean, we see him every single day.
At number 9, the tight end room.
Finally. So this is our biggest difference. I had him at 4 overall. You have him at 9. Where's your concern, Gibby?
I didn't see a lot. And Njoku struggled at times last year.
Was that a product of –
I don't know, and that's
hard. Our offensive situation last year was such a tough spot.
Yeah, I need Njoku. He's in a contract year. Mm-hmm. I need him to revert back to that Pro Bowl form.
Yeah, they need him. Yeah.
I mean, next we talked about the running back room being important. I know what I'm going to get from Jerry Jeudy. Njoku has to be one of the dudes on offense.
Yep.
He's got to be a dude. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it.
Yeah.
And I just Whitehart's fine. Fannin, I love Harold Fannin. I think Harold Fannon's going to be fine, but it's a young room behind Njoku.
That's why when I think he'll bounce back much quicker. I think Chief's going to have a big year. I think Fannon's going to be a stud. But I do think I think it's fair to say beyond that, and that's why I mentioned that when I had him at 4, it's basically based on the high end of it, but also the reality that, and I mentioned this, I do think I wouldn't be surprised if we had another one because I think we're going to play a lot of 2 tight end. So I think you probably want to add one more kind of in that mix.
Yeah, I think it's a numbers game as well.
Yes.
So,
Yeah.
Who did you have at number 9?
I had O-tackle.
Okay.
O-tackle
who'd you have
at
at
9, so
10?
we're at 10. This is where I have safety. Safety at 10.
Okay.
Obviously love Delpit, and I think Ronnie's been really good. Bonnet was so excited about the guys behind, so that gives you a little bit of hope. But we haven't really invested very bigly in that room.
No.
And so, and again, I think that they're fine. I need to see it. I'm show me state guy, so I need to see some of these guys in our uniforms running around. I need to see a little bit of a bounce back from Ronnie.
I had tackle at number 10.
Probably for the same reasons that I had him low. I
Exactly.
mean, it's
Yep.
yeah. And then wide receiver.
That's it. Right now, your wide receivers are Jerry Jeudy, Cedric Tillman, Deontay Johnson, Jamari Thrash, Michael Woods, David Bell, and a host of others.
Yeah. Yeah.
DeAndre Carter, who's a returner, more so in special teams. I mean,
you
some
need
of these other guys have flashed here and there during minicamp and OTA, but
You need this is the one room I think you need to add. I think you need to add.
would you have any interest in one of the 3 top 100 free agents that are still out there?
Give it to me. Do you have the list? Give me the
I
list.
do. Amari Cooper, Keenan Allen, and Gabe Davis. Of the
Gabe
remaining
Well,
top 100 free agents.
I don't know. I still don't know what happened to Amari in Buffalo. And it was so strange. And I mean, he struggled here last year too at the beginning of the year.
Yes.
But he was electric with Flacco. Electric. And he was largely a good citizen here. I mean, he was a great citizen here.
Yeah.
So, I like to kick the tires, but I don't know everything. Who knows what led to all of that?
And how does
but
he
on
not
the surface,
succeed in Buffalo?
I don't know.
I
It's one
have
of the
friends
greatest
in
what-ifs.
Buffalo.
Yeah.
And they don't know.
No, we were like, God, he's going to be the best receiver for the Bills. I mean, he was a fantasy football pickup for everybody. So I would probably rate those Amari, Gabe Davis, Keenan Allen in that order would be the way that I would do that. And hopefully the familiarity with Flacco would help for Amari going forward. Speaking of our receivers, we'll take a look at the position groups around the league and where the Browns rank on that list. The bad news is lower third. The good news is there's someone in our division who they say is actually worse. We will get to that coming up next. You'll listen to Cleveland Browns Daily, presented by Ballybet, official sports betting partner of your Cleveland Browns on 850 ESPN Cleveland. And we head to London this October. You can be part of the action through the Browns Takeovers, powered by TrueFan Travel. If you head to browns.com/takeovers to book today, you'll receive a 5-night hotel stay, a double-decker bus tour of London, a welcome party on the Tims, an opportunity to hang out with Browns legend Josh Cribbs and 3-time Pro Bowl corner Joe Hayden, all-inclusive pregame tailgate and tickets to the game. Visit browns.com/takeovers to learn more, and we'll see you across the pond. Time for a little higher or lower. Hello, Gibby.
Hi.
Let's do it.
Look at this. Look. I mean, it is
wide open now, baby.
It's getting
It's wide
worse.
open.
I think everybody. By the way, everybody got to go home. If you were outside,
The next level is next.
I just
We'll
watched
see ya.
40 people leave.
They're all gone.
I mean,
The lights are out.
I get the football's off.
The lights are
but
out.
everybody else got to go. I literally just watched everybody else leave.
Yeah, they're gone, man. Lights are out. Game over. That's it.
Great.
That's where you stand, buddy.
Finish up our stuff. Circle the wagons, J-Mac. We're out. We talked about this guy, Johnny Tuma, the other day.
Sure, yeah.
did.
He ranks his position.
So I'm like, let's look.
Have some fun.
The one that drew my attention to him to begin with was this one, the
Okay.
wide receiver
Okay.
rooms. He ranked them all.
All right.
Okay. Do you want to start at number 1? Do you want to start at the back? Do you want to start where we're ranked?
Well, I mean, this is what I'm going to do. This is how I'll do what I would do, because this gets a little silly at the bottom, because what is really the difference between some of these? If I were to give you, I think the best wide receiver group in football is Cincinnati.
Okay.
That would be my number 1. My number 2.
Well, that's his number 1, so great minds think alike.
I don't know. Well, we'll see. We'll see if we're great minds give AI. We'll see. I think my number 2 would be Minnesota. I think I'd have Minnesota number 2. I think I would have Philly 3. I think 4, I would put the Rams.
Okay.
And 5.
And you have not looked at this. He's not looked at this.
No, I've in fact,
It's
I'm
flipped
writing on
over.
it upside
You are
down.
writing on it upside down.
5. 5. I think on 5 I might go. Boy, Tampa Bay could be. They had a Mecca Buka to that group. That might be a little too rich for their blood. Chicago at 5. Detroit, Jameson Williams, Amon-Ra St. Brown. That's pretty good. Did Dallas pick somebody up with CD? Oh, yeah, Pickens. Pickens is with CD there. Is Tyreek Hill still a Dolphin?
Yes.
Is that known? All right, so I'm going to go Miami 5.
Okay.
Assuming he bounce backs. That'd be my top 5.
All right.
How'd I do?
You got a couple.
Okay.
Number 1, you got right. The Bengals, according to this guy.
I was talking to Ben Baby of ESPN this morning.
Love him.
And he said, he's a great dude, said Jermaine Burton had a hell of a month. And that a big thing that happened was T. Higgins is having a charity basketball game in his hometown, and Jermaine Burton is going. And so what that suggests is buy-in from him. If they get him, remember he was a stud at Bama. If they get him to
Get him
elevate, and you have Higgins and Chase and him, then that's second's eighth. If they get all that to happen,
Great.
yeah.
Wonderful. At number 2,
Okay.
he's got the Rams.
Okay. So
I mean,
have the
Devontae
Rams.
Adams, Puka Nacua, Tutu Atwell. Okay.
I have them 4. Okay.
Okay. See, like I said, you had 2 in there.
Okay. Oh well, wait. These were teams I talked about.
Yeah, you did. Tampa Bay at number 3. You forget they got Ibuka.
What I think he's forgetting is that Godwin had a big time injury,
Yeah.
and I think he's forgetting that part of it.
And
mean,
Mike
that was
Evans got his 1,000 yards, but literally needed every throw at the end.
I think
to get
Godwin's injury is why I didn't have them in my top 5, but I can understand. That. I get that.
I would not have this team in my top 5. He's got Chicago in there.
So this is the one I talked about these guys. So here are your knowns. DJ Moore, stud. Rome Odunze, stud. Luther Burden was the number 1 receiver in the country out of high school. He went to Missouri. He's a theft, and they got him either top of the second or in the first round. he's going to be a nice player for them. So that's why I was talking about them potentially being in the mix in my top 5. Is that's a nice group. That's a nice group. I think he's got Minnesota too low. I had Minnesota 2, and he's got him 5.
Addison's a heck of a talent. I didn't realize they had Rondale Moore in their room.
He just keeps getting bounced around. He had those moments with Arizona, but nothing consistent.
Houston, he's got number 6 with Nico Collins and Christian Kirk. But was it Nico that got hurt?
He was.
Yeah, he had a big injury.
There's no scenario where Houston's receiving room is better than A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith. There just isn't. I mean, Philly, that's not right. That is not right. Philly's top 5 for sure.
They should be ahead of Dallas.
Yes.
Dallas is 7th. Philly's 8th.
Yeah, take Philly and put them where Chicago is.
I get putting Jacksonville 9th, but I don't know how many snaps Travis Hunter is going to take at wide receiver.
I was thinking about him in regard to what Ohtani is doing like a rehab start in the major leagues and also DHing and leading off. The only way what he would have to do what Ohtani is doing is he would have to be an all-pro both ways, or be an all-pro corner and a Pro Bowl receiver. That's what he would have to do what Ohtani is doing if Ohtani can do it while healthy. But yeah, I'm with you on that. So I had the Dolphins 5. I was kind of I think I maybe overvalued them. I can admit perhaps being wrong on that one.
Well, Hill and Waddle are formidable.
They are, but Hill really fell off a cliff last year. He's got all sorts of stuff going on. I maybe overvalued them a little bit.
Maybe the Lions should be a little higher.
I like the Lions a lot. Yeah.
Yeah. He's got the 49ers 12. I'm not sure that I'm totally buying in on that.
Yeah, based on what? Ayuk?
Ricky Pearsall, Juwan Jennings, Brandon Ayuk.
Ayuk's a stud, but
yeah.
I mean, I think that's too high for them.
Yeah.
For sure.
Where's my fifth? The Chargers are 13, led by Ladd McConkey and Trey Harris. They brought Mike Williams back. Again, the Chargers need more weapons. The Chiefs are 14 with Rashee Rice, Xavier Worthy, Hollywood Brown, Juju Smith-Schuster. They need some guys to actually do something there.
Yeah, I mean, just in this 15 to 20 range, Baltimore's better than that with Flowers and Bateman. I think Seattle's better than that.
Yeah, they got Cooper Kupp.
Yeah, I mean, if he's healthy, I think that'll be pretty good.
Scantling?
Green Bay's got 1,000 receivers.
They do.
They have 1,000.
Yeah, they decided to draft them.
They got so many receivers. Washington at 15. That might be a little generous for them. McLaurin's really good, but Debo doesn't look like he's in great shape. And beyond that, I don't know exactly what that'll look like. So it seems a little bit overvalued for them.
So,
on the back half,
what stands out?
Well, I mean, I think the Giants are better than they're showing here at 22. Neighbors is a top-flight stud. And they've got some guys who were big-time producers in college. They just need to go a little bit. Wan'Dale Robinson, Jalen Hyatt. Just kind of need them to go a little bit. They still have Darius Slayton there as well. I'd probably have them a little higher. Boy, it gets pretty thin, man. Yeah. Honestly, though, after that. Like, the Bills at 26 tells you a little bit about how Josh Allen has so much consideration for MVP all the time because it's Khalil Shakur, Keon Coleman, Josh Palmer.
I know the Bills GM got all uptight when the radio station was asking questions. I don't think this rating's far off at 26.
No, I don't either.
Now, what doesn't make sense to me, I mean, the Browns are 28th and probably the show-me state.
Yeah, that's where we're at.
How about Pittsburgh at 30 with DK Metcalf? Now, there's not a whole lot behind him. Scotty Miller, BG alum.
Yeah. I would assume I think Roman Wilson could be good for them there. I assume that they're going to add to this room a little bit, though. I do. Yeah.
I mean, the Jets 31 with Garrett Wilson. I mean,
that tells you how far they fell. I mean, you remember how they were viewed a couple of years ago when Rodgers first got there? Like they had him and they were kind of ready to go. And then New England at the bottom makes all the sense in the world.
So who would you have, before we go, who would you have ranked higher? The Jets led by Wilson or the Saints led by Olave?
Jets, because I think Wilson is slightly better than Olave. I mean, the Saints have Donovan Peoples-Jones. I mean, he's more than capable. They still have Brandon Cooks.
Yeah.
Actually, that room's not terrible. The Saints room isn't terrible. I don't know. That's a good question. Lazard seems like he's cooked to me. Maybe the Saints are slightly better. That might be fair. Yeah.
I mean, the Patriots have.
I think
Stephon
these are the
Diggs, but
right
I don't know what's
teams.
going on there.
I think these are the right teams, kind of here. I think he's got the right teams kind of in this spot on this
I
thing.
think the Raiders were too high. I mean, outside Jacoby Myers,
Where's he have them?
24.
Yeah, that's
I
too
don't,
yeah,
I don't,
that's
I don't
for
know
sure
anybody
too high.
else on that room.
No, that's too high for them. They wouldn't even be ahead
They should
of
be
Denver.
on the final
who's-
page.
Yeah, they should be for sure because they don't even have the top end like
No.
Garrett Wilson or DK. They don't have
Exactly.
That type of thing.
Like,
So at least there's one guy, one weapon that you can be feared
Yeah.
on those type of rosters. All right, coming up next, Denzel Ward from the podium. You're listening to Cleveland Browns Daily, 850 ESPN Cleveland. Elk and Elk, serious lawyers, serious injuries. Call 1-800-ELK-OHIO for a free case review. Elk and Elk's proud partner of your Cleveland Browns. We head to the podium now, presented by Vivid Seats. Purchase your official fan experience package today for the ultimate game day. Here is cornerback Denzel Ward.
Wish you feel like
you're down
as a leader in all forms of leadership over the last couple of years.
Man, I think I've grown as a leader tremendously, and I take a lot of pride in it. Just definitely how I came in. I was looking to come in and be a leader for this team, but I mean, as a rookie when I came in, like, I was just trying to find my way and everything, and probably wasn't as outspoken but I feel I just grown, just definitely more vocal leader, and but I feel I always showed I was a leader by my actions and the way I carry myself around a building and on the field. But I'm continuing to grow though. I'm just trying to be positive with everyone I come in contact with and help this team win in any way I can.
You had perfect attendance last spring. Did you do that again?
Yes.
Why is that important?
It's just setting an example. That's a part of being a great leader and setting an example for these guys. And I mean, we're trying to build something special. A lot of people count us out, but this is where it starts right here. So we got to believe in ourselves first, and just continue to come out here and work and be with the guys, with the coaches and everything, and just get better each day.
What makes you think this?
Go ahead. Okay. Do you think that leadership is even more important to you now, knowing, okay, QB, it's an open competition for you guys. Obviously, Nick Chubb signs with Houston yesterday, and he was such a big leader. Does it become more important just knowing, like, the state you guys are in?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, leadership is huge. You see it all across sports and schools and everything. Like, you need great leadership on teams to be a great team ultimately, and I'm just trying to play my role in that.
What makes you think this year is going to be better than last year, Denzel, for your team?
Really, I mean, we gonna take it a day at a time, game at a time, week at a time. So, I mean, we'll see at the end of the year how things play out. But as long as we continue to work and get better each day, I think we'll have positive results at the end of the year.
Was last year your best year, in your opinion?
I do think last year probably was my best year. Yeah, I had some pretty good numbers. Felt good.
I'm sorry. Jim Schwartz last week said the difference between Pro Bowl to All-Pro is turning some of those PBUs into interceptions. How much does he stress that, and how much do you think about that?
Yeah, I think about it a lot. Jim, he challenges me a lot, and I appreciate that. I'm trying to be greater than great, and he's pushing me every day to, like I said, PBUs are good, but those interceptions help change the game tremendously and help the team win. So I got my hands on a lot of balls last year, but being able to take that ball away will help us even more.
So how do you go about doing that?
It's just getting reps on task. So coming out here and really just shifting my mindset. Like, I know a lot of times I just try to go for the disruption. Like, my man's not going to catch the ball, but just focusing, getting two hands on the ball and going and taking it away. And then practicing on the jugs, catches, and just keeping it in my mind.
You had a front row seat to this QB competition so far. Just what have you seen from going against those guys every day?
Yeah, all those guys look good. I'm looking forward to picking them all off in practice. And they all looking good, competing. So I'm looking forward to see how it continues to play out. And the best guy's going to be out there.
You played against Kenny at the... Go ahead.
So when you look at your position, what excites you just about this year, knowing who you have in the room and you guys want to do?
And yeah, just the camaraderie. Like, we all know each other, and we all get along and love playing with one another. And just all of our competitive mindset. Like, we all want to win. We all want to be great. We come out here, we push each other every day, and we're just looking to be the best corner group, defensive group in the NFL, and that's our main goal, and that's what we go work towards.
How do you think the two new veteran safeties fit in that back end?
Yeah, good. I mean, we're still coming out here working, so guys are still learning the playbook and learning everything. So I think they got to get more reps and everything, but looking good so far competing.
Feel like Jim's still going to go with as many 3 safety packages as he had in the past?
Yeah, maybe. That's up to them. I'll let them put whoever out there. Who's ever out there I know is going to be ready to go.
I know that room looks different, the safety room in particular, like working with those guys, seeing Ronnie step into a larger role here. It's like, what has that been like so far?
Oh, yeah, Ronnie, he's a Buckeye, so he's going to come in ready. We need more Buckeyes on the team. But, no, Rocket, he's been good since he came on, just coming in, learning the playbook fast, being out there making plays. I always think about his interception he had against the Jets for the playoffs and everything. But, man, he's going to be a good player for us, and he's going to be good.
Just with the Ohio State connection with you guys, I mean, how cool is it to see his journey and going from being undrafted to being potentially a starter.
Yeah, that's good. I mean, that's just credit to the work that he's put in, and the Ohio State where he came from, and his grind and mentality coming in, regardless whether you get drafted or undrafted, you can still find a way to make a team.
You haven't been on the field much with Sanders, but you have with Gabriel. So
Mm-hmm.
what are your observations about him when you're defending him?
Yeah, he's a good quarterback. Like I said, I'm looking forward to picking him off as well. And but he throws a good ball. They all do. And just looking forward to continue to get more reps with those guys.
In terms of, you talked about turning pass breakups and interceptions. Did you go through the tape last year and figure out how many of those would have been interceptions?
Yeah, a lot of them were contested, but I feel I'm good enough where I could come and take those balls away. But just find a way to get two hands on the ball and finish the play. I said got a lot of hands on the ball, but I got to finish. That's the biggest thing, and that's gonna be my focus this year. And I'm gonna take it away. I'm gonna get it away this year.
Anything extra that you've worked on in terms of getting both hands and finish?
Just jugs, catching the ball, and our coaches, they do a good job of setting up drills for us to practice getting interceptions and working through that contact that you're gonna feel in the game and catching the ball.
Joe's at the second podium.
About the importance of third down percentage for you guys, I guess. How important is that to improve this coming year? Just how much have you guys been?
Yeah, we focus on it every day. I mean, third down is huge. We got to be able to get off the field come third down, and that's our main focus. If we get off the field, get our offense back on there, we're going to put ourselves in a good spot during the game.
I was going to ask the specific helmet that you wore this past season.
Say it again? I can't hear you.
Specific helmet that you wore this past season to be concussions. Is it the best helmet that you've worn, and if so, would you recommend it for everyone?
I sure hope so. They said it's the best helmet and top helmet, so I'm gonna be in that one and go out there and play.
All right, there you go. Denzel Ward from Mandatory Minicamp from the podium, presented by Vivid Seats. Purchase your official fan experience package for the ultimate game day. That music means we are done. The next level is coming up, kids. We are back tomorrow. Thanks for listening. Cleveland Browns Daily, presented by Bally Bet, official sports betting partner of your Cleveland Browns.